Hello, everybody. It is Mike Young with Mike Young Real Estate, and I am back here for another informational video about real estate, specifically North Carolina real estate and stuff that deals with what's going on around where you are. So you may be watching this on our community groups in the Triangle Grapevine.org group of community groups, or Wake Forest Community Information is one of them, Raleigh Community Information. Those are our two biggest. You can find those if you're not watching it on there on wfci.one or rci.one. Now, today's video is about due diligence. Do you guys know what that is? If you do, comment below. Write something down in the comments so I know that you know what due diligence is. And if you don't, or if you kind of sort of maybe know a little bit about what due diligence is, then hopefully this video will help to explain some things that maybe you're not aware of. But however, this is not by any means an all-out, totally comprehensive video on due diligence. As you guys know from the theme of my videos, real estate has about an unlimited amount of possibilities that can happen. So we're only going to go over a few of the more common things. And then some of the things I'll touch on are going on in the market today, which is a very, very strong seller's market here in the Raleigh, Wake Forest, Triangle metropolitan area. And it seems like everybody still keeps moving. We see people in the community groups all the time saying, I'm thinking about moving here. I'm moving here. I just moved here. That's common stuff. Okay, so let's talk about due diligence. What is due diligence? Well, basically, the shortest way I can describe this is that it is an option to buy a house. Now, if you are in a super, super strong seller's market like we are now, you may end up seeing a contract where they don't use due diligence, even though it's written in the contract. Now, most of these contracts in North Carolina, in my opinion, favor the seller, just as rental properties favor the landlord in North Carolina. It's just kind of the way the laws are written here in this state. It's just more of a landlord or seller friendly as opposed to a tenant or buyer friendly state. Anyway, houses are sold in as is condition, and the due diligence gives you an opportunity for conveying a certain amount of compensation in money to the seller and a certain amount of time they'll take it off the market to look over things before you finalize the purchase on your home. So where is this found in the contract? Now, I've got the contract here. It's like a 15-page document. I'm not usually a paper person, so I don't usually do paper, but I've got one here just for purposes of this video. I don't know how much you can see of this. Let's see. All right, there, the second line there underneath purchase price is pay by due diligence fee. You see that? Pay by due diligence fee. There it is. So basically, you and the seller, or the buyer usually makes the offer to the seller, although the seller can always make an offer to a buyer, but that doesn't usually happen in a seller's market. That only happens when it's very, very hard to sell a property, generally. Well, nowadays, these due diligence fees, if you offer one, because as I was saying, sellers would rather not have a buyer, give a buyer an option to buy. They'd rather say, hey, you're buying this house, you're buying this property on this day and time, no due diligence. That is the strongest offer a buyer can bring, is no due diligence time frame or huge amounts of due diligence money. Now, why? Well, why huge amounts of due diligence money? It's because due diligence money is not returned to the buyer unless or until settlement or closing happens. So if you don't go to settlement, you back out, and you can. Because you have an option to buy under the due diligence time frame, you may back out of the contract for any reason whatsoever. You don't even have to give a reason, because you've already compensated that seller by means of cash money by taking the property out the market for a certain period of time. So they're getting your money even if you walk away. And of course, if you did inspections and you're a buyer, you also will have lost the money you put into inspections. So there's a high likelihood of you staying on if you have a high due diligence. Now, what's high? Well, in the past, due diligences that I was seeing just a few years ago in North Carolina. I've been licensed in 2006, not all that time in North Carolina, but since 5 years ago, we were seeing a couple $100 due diligence to the seller. Take that property off the market for 3 weeks so I can do inspections, get a title search done, check on my financing. Because by the way, contracts in North Carolina are not contingent on financing, okay? And they're as is. It's kind of, like I said, very, very seller-friendly state. So a couple $100 was good, but not anymore. Especially in the lower price ranges. If you're talking about lower price range, completed homes, detached homes, like around 200,000, which the inventory is pretty much zero around 200,000, you got to come forward with a tremendous amount of due diligence money if you're even asking for due diligence. So, although it might be a good strategy to just have an incredibly short due diligence period, like one day, and give them lots of due diligence money. That's another good way I'm thinking for my buyers right now, because I'm working with some buyers, a couple sets of buyers right now, and it's a challenging market. So you may have to pay thousands of dollars to the seller. Just keep that in mind if you want to win out on some of these bidding wars. Now, of course, the winning bidder in today's markets is the highest price, best terms. So you don't want to do something absolutely outrageously stupid and not be able to get financing for it and have to come to the table with $20,000 to make up that gap. These things can happen in this market. But let's say there are properties $4,000 or $5,000 due diligence money. If you really want to win them, now that's an extreme example, I'm telling you, but a couple $100 of a few years ago is gone. You got to pay at least $1,000, I'd say, nowadays to be able to secure an option to buy a property. So what does this buy you? Okay, we said option to buy. This is page 1 of the contract here. On page 2 of this 15-page document that the state of North Carolina provides the Real Estate Commission, we will see here, I've got my papers shuffling back and forth, due diligence period. You see that down there? Due diligence period. The period beginning on the effective date, that's the effective date is the date of ratification, and extending through 5 p.m. on blank, time being of the essence. Okay? And of course, there's the escrow agent. That's where escrow money is sent, and we'll talk about that in a second too. So you have to stipulate basically on due diligence the amount of money you're going to give to the seller if you're a buyer, and if you're a seller, this is very important that you need to know what this means and why it's important. Like I said, nothing is more important, nothing's better to a seller than tons of due diligence money, because even if this buyer walks away, you still have that money. And of course, a short due diligence period. Although if you have a contract that is not cash, and of course cash is always king, it's way better to sellers than a finance property. And in North Carolina, let's see, there's a box on here in the contract. Let me see if I can flip through it, find it, where you have to disclose if you need to sell another property and if you are obtaining financing, both of which are on here. Here we go. So the seller will know. You can't hide the fact that you're obtaining financing. You can lie, I suppose, but we're not going to get into that. We're not doing that. Loan. The buyer does or does not have to obtain a new loan. See that? So the seller. There's my green screen. There we go. The seller's going to know that, much like that suburban scene I got behind me, and they're also going to know, according to the contract. See if we can get. I'm trying to get all this focus on here. If you do or do not have to sell or lease other real property in order to qualify for a new home loan. They're going to know all that stuff. So if you get due diligence, you're going to need to get all your financing in order. You're going to need to get pre-qualified, not just pre-qualified, pre-approved. You're going to need to get that appraisal done, run it all through the lender, do your title search through your attorney. And in North Carolina, the buyers pick the attorney. The sellers can always pick them. I think the buyer has the first right of refusal on the attorneys. So this is important stuff. You, as a buyer in today's market, really need to provide the most compelling offer to your seller of any home that you're interested in. This is why it's so important to have an experienced real estate agent representing you. Experience. There is no substitute for experience. I've been licensed since 2006. I've seen so many things, although I haven't seen everything, because it's impossible to see everything in real estate. There are an unlimited number of ways that any transaction could be handled and can go. But the more experience, the better. So anyway, that's what you need to know. How is earnest money different from due diligence money? That's something I want to mention here in this video. Earnest money is held by a third party, typically an attorney's office in North Carolina. Attorney's offices have to do settlements here in North Carolina. They cannot be done by just title companies, and an attorney has to be involved. So the attorney will hold the money, and earnest money is a little different than due diligence, because as I said, due diligence money is only returned to the buyer if and when they go to settlement. Due diligence money is property of the seller immediately upon handing it to them, and you must hand it to them immediately when the contract is signed by all parties. Otherwise, it's not even an official contract if it's not given to the buyer. And let me show you, there's another acknowledgement on here. I think like page 13. Right here it is. Actually, it's the last one. Page 15 of 15. There you go. You see that? It's the, whoops. listing agent acknowledgement of due diligence fee or the seller acknowledgement of receipt of due diligence fee. So we all know that whether you got the money or not, and if it's gone, but we know you got it with the acknowledgement. Earnest money, however, is potentially refundable to the buyer if all parties agree, meaning buyer and seller, to refund that money. And if there is some type of a due diligence time frame, typically if the buyer backs out within the due diligence, even if earnest money is there, and we can get into this in another video, it will be refunded typically, although we can't say that for sure. All parties have to agree. If all parties don't agree, you know who agrees? You know who decides? A judge, a court of law decides. So you don't want to get in that situation. But we're only talking about due diligence money. We'll do another video in the future on those types of things. So in today's market, due diligence is more important than ever, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And of course, if you're a seller, this due diligence money and the lack of thereof due diligence could make the determination for you as to whether or not you want to accept an offer. And again, these offers are very complex. It's a 15-page contract. So many different things that can go right or wrong, so many different options that you could do or not. And let me know about your experience here. I'm just curious with due diligence money on offers in North Carolina. If you're from another state, if you've had experience in other states, because other states don't have due diligence timeframes. The contracts are written totally differently. Have some licensing. I started off my licensing as a realtor in the state of Maryland, and we didn't have this due diligence. It was done differently. But North Carolina is getting pretty good. Just know that you, as a buyer, you're taking a big risk today. So you've got to make sure that you know what you're getting into, because you may not have any opportunity in today's market to do anything about it. But you will have to risk your due diligence money to buy a property. So we're in a very interesting time right now. And again, I would love to hear your experiences. Just comment down below so I can hear what's going on. Let me know if you like my background over there. And I will be making another video on another interesting topic in the near future, probably dealing with the contracts, since so many people are unfamiliar with the contracts. And like I said, my videos are not meant to be all encompassing, but at least for somebody that has zero experience and very little experience with dealing with sales of real estate, you're going to learn a lot by watching these videos. And I may even throw in, like I said, a very interesting or more detailed thing or two in there. And I'd love to hear from you, your questions. Let me know your questions are in the comments. And again, if you need to reach out to me, my name is Mike Young, as you can tell from up in the title there or down below, wherever you're watching. My number directly is 240-205-0417. And you can text me or you can call me there. And also, please join our community groups in the state of North Carolina, because most of my stuff is North Carolina centered, most of my real estate stuff, specifically around the Raleigh, Wake Forest, Triangle areas. And we have trianglegrapevine.org. If you go there, click on groups, you'll see all the groups we have. And our biggest, of course, are Wake Forest community information and Raleigh community information. And you can find those directly with links at wsci.one and rci.one. So have fun out there, everybody. Hope you're staying socially distant and staying healthy. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.